Okay, welcome everybody. I'm just trying to get used to being in a space like this. They're a new prayer hall, and it's stupendous, really beautiful. They've been building it for many years, and many people have contributed to make it possible. And you can really see the result and feel it as a holy place. So today we're going to talk about a prayer, an aspiration prayer, written by Lama Tsongkhapa, a Tibetan sage from the 14th century. And it's a prayer aspiring to be born in Amitabha's Pure Land. So quite beautiful. And put it this way, it's not so simple to be born in Amitabha's Pure Land. Sometimes you read things that say, oh, you just need to say Namo Amitofo 10 times and you'll be born in Amitabha's Pure Land. Do you really think that that's all you need to do? Yeah? Ethical conduct, bodhicitta, wisdom, none of that matters. No, all of that matters. And so this is going to come out as we go through the prayer. So let's start with taking refuge in the Buddhas, generating bodhicitta, and doing the four immeasurables, and that will set the stage. We'll have a few minutes of silent meditation after that, and then we'll hear what Lama Tsongkhapa has to say about how to be reborn in Amitabha's Pure Land. Okay, so this is the text I'll be going through, which will be up on the screen too, is called The Prayer to be Reborn in the Land of Bliss. And I said it's by Tsongkhapa. So it begins, with deeds exalted, you grant splendor unending. Once remember, you hurled far all fear of the Lord of Death. With constant love, you look on others as sons and daughters. Amitabha, teacher of gods and humans, I bow before you. So this verse is paying homage to Amitabha. So Amitabha is the enjoyment body form of Amitabha. Amitabha is the Nirmanakaya or emanation body form. So they're related. Don't think of them as totally different. Okay. Then the next verse says, swayed by compassion, I will ride as best as I can for birth in Sukhavati, land of bliss, praised again and again by the mighty Buddha as the highest of realms. Okay, so the first verse was paying homage to Amitabha, and this verse that I just read is his his statement of writing the aspirational prayer. Okay, and so he's saying in it that all of this about Amitabha and the Pure Land was spoken by the Buddha. So it's not made up. Okay. Then the next verse says, all knowledge of what to practice and what to abandon is covered by layers of ignorance. So that's talking about us. Yeah, that our minds are completely covered or obscured by the ignorance chiefly the ignorance that grasps at inherent existence. All future lives in higher realms are slain by the weapons of anger. Lying trust by the ropes of desire in the prison of samsara, I am carried helplessly to the oceans of cyclic existence by rivers of karma. Tossed by endless waves of aging sickness and other suffering, thrown to the jaws of that savage mantra, the Lord of Death, I languish under the weight of unwanted suffering. Okay, so the first 3 sentences are talking about what we call the 3 poisonous attitudes, starting out with ignorance that obscures our mind. We don't know the nature of reality, and we don't know, as spiritual practitioners, what to practice and what to abandon. What do we do? What should we not do? And we're quite confused about that. When we get angry, it inhibits our future rebirths in higher realms. And when we are tied by the rope of our desire, our clinging attachment, our greed, then it just perpetuates our samsara. And so these are the 3 principal afflictions, and through them we create karma. Then at the time of death, if we have a mind of craving, it makes the karma ripen, and then we are tossed into another rebirth where we again experience aging, sickness, and death. Okay, so in this 3rd verse, we are admitting to ourselves that this is the state of our existence. In other words, we're not saying, oh yes, life in samsara is fantastic. I am having such a good time. Yeah, because that's not our situation. When we have no control over where we were born, because we're pushed there by the force of mental afflictions and karma, we're in a pretty dire situation. So we have to acknowledge that in order to sincerely practice the Buddha's teachings. Because if we don't acknowledge that we have ignorance, anger, and attachment, that we're quite confused about life, then we think, oh, I'm fine, everything's great. I don't need to listen to the Buddha's teachings. And if we have that attitude, we're certainly not going to learn anything, and we're going to keep revolving in cyclic existence. Okay, the next verse says, without a protector and with anguished cries, I ask with devotion, as witnesses to the yearnings of my mind, Amitabha, guide and sole friend to the deprived, powerful Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, Vajrapani, or Mahastamaprapta, what a name, and entourage, not to forget the vows of the Supreme Bodhicitta, made over countless eons for our sake. Like the mighty Garuda bird swooping through the skies, please come before me through your miraculous power and great compassion. Okay, so here we are in samsara. We have no protector. We're calling out for help. We have faith in Amitabha and see him as our guide, as our friend, and not just our personal friend or personal guide, but for all the beings languishing in samsara. Then also in Amitabha's Pure Land, we have Avalokiteshvara, or Kuan Yin, name is Chenrezig in Tibetan. Okay, and then according to the Tibetans, the other bodhisattva is Vajrapani. Okay, in the Chinese, the name is Mahastamaprapta. So I don't know how Mahastamaprapta got to be Vajrapani. It's a puzzle for me. I'm curious about that too, but that's the way it is. And for those of you who do the Chenrezig, the Kuan Yin practice in the Tibetan tradition, you'll notice that, of the 11 heads in thousand-armed Chenrezig, the wrathful one on top is Vajrapani. Okay, there's peaceful and wrathful forms of Vajrapani. I assume when we're looking at the Pure Land that it's the peaceful form. But maybe Vajrapani needs to get a little wrathful when we are lazy and inconsiderate and so on, to wake us up. Okay, so we're asking in this verse, we're asking the three of them, please, don't forget your vows of bodhicitta. Of course, they're never going to forget that, but it's good for us to remember that they made those vows of bodhicitta to benefit sentient beings. And, and say to be like the Garuda bird is some kind of mythical bird, to sweep down and rescue us. Now, I've always wondered, is it going to happen like that? Yeah, that you're dying, then all of a sudden, Amitabha, Avalokiteshvara, Vajrapani are going to zoom in on, the latest Tesla electric plane and say, come on board, we're going to Sukhavati. I don't think so. Yeah. But maybe some people have that karma to really see them coming with your eyes. I have a feeling it's maybe more seeing them in our mind's eye. Yeah. Okay, next verse. By the power of the immense twin collections of spiritual merit and wisdom, created by myself and others in the past, present, and future, I pray that when death draws near, I see before me my guide Amitabha, his two main disciples, his entourage, and other holy beings. At that time, may I have strong faith in this great conqueror and his entourage, and be free from the pain of dying. So this is the aspiration, okay, that based on the two collections, the collection of merit and the collection of wisdom that we've created, that everybody has created in the past, present, and future, that when we're dying, that we see before us Amitabha, Kuan Yin, and Vajrapani. Okay, so like I said, I wonder if they really appear to our eyes. I have a feeling they appear more to our mental consciousness. Okay, and we greet them not with well, who are you showing up when I'm dying, but with faith, and it's the faith built because for our lifetimes we have practiced the path set out by the Buddha, which is the path set out by Amitabha, set out by Avalokiteshvara, set out by Vajrapani. Okay, so we die in very much the same way that we live. So in our life, if we familiarize ourselves with Amitabha and the two bodhisattvas, then when we die, it's very easy to turn our mind to them and have, in our mind's eye, to see them and to have faith and to again generate a wish, an aspiration that we've cultivated for our whole life, which is to be born in Tsongkhapa. Okay. So by recalling and holding in my mind, these objects of faith, so there it is, we're holding them in our mind. It's not necessarily technicolor, and like I said, they're in front and we touch them and say, nice to meet you, Amitabha. It's in our mind, and that happens because throughout our life we've trained our mind to think again and again and again about Amitabha, Kuan Yin, and Vajrapani. Okay? If we don't think about them during our life and practice the teachings that they teach, then thinking that we will remember them when we're dying is kind of a fantasy. Okay, by recalling and holding in my mind these objects of faith, I pray that as soon as my consciousness has left this body, the 8 bodhisattvas arrive by miraculous power to show the way to Tsongkhapa, there to be born within a jeweled lotus with sharp faculties and in the Mahayana family. Okay? So by thinking when we're dying about Amitabha and the bodhisattvas, then when our consciousness has left the guest house of this body, we are not taking this body with us. This body was born by karma and afflictions. To go to Amitabha's Pure Land, we have to leave this body. Okay, so when our consciousness leaves this body, then we're thinking that the 8 bodhisattvas, so these are 8 bodhisattvas that we often see in different pictures. They're probably illustrated in the reliefs that we see in the room. Okay, so they're Kuan Yin, Vajrapani, Kashyapagarbha, Saravana Mishkambini, Samantabhadra. There's 8 of them that they appear through their miraculous power, but again, it's appearing in our mind's eye, and they will, when they says show us the way to Tsongkhapa, I don't think it's that they come and again say, okay, jump in the car and steer it, go right here, go up 2 clouds, turn left, go up another 3 clouds, turn right. The Pure Land is not somewhere up in the clouds, and they're showing us the way isn't like Siri telling us how to drive from here somewhere. Okay, so I know that you don't like to put your phone down wherever you are. It's kind of like part of your body. But when you die, no body, no phone. So Siri is not going to be the one to tell you how to get to the Pure Land. Because the Pure Land, isn't some kind of place that we can see with our normal eyes. It's a place that we're born by the power of our Dharma practice. Okay? So, when we arrive in Tsongkhapa, when our mind is, we're directing our mind to be reborn there, then there's 9 stages of lotuses in Tsongkhapa, and which lotus you're born into depends upon your merit. It depends whether you have sharp or dull faculties. It depends on your collection of wisdom. Okay, you can't make reservations. You know, oh, I want that nice pink lotus that's really comfortable, and I'm going to be reborn there. Yeah, please have clean sheets. No, it's not like that. Yeah, so if you are a dull faculty disciple, then you're born in the first level of lotuses. And it takes a long time for you to accumulate the merit and wisdom for that lotus to open so that you can see Amitabha and have teachings directly from Amitabha. So this is why it's saying that we're praying to have sharp faculties. In other words, be somebody, and we practice this during our life, who doesn't just have blind faith, but who analyzes and thinks about the teachings, tries them out, practices them. Okay, so this is really critical. Although you may hear a lot of people talking about just have faith in Amitabha, it's really not that easy. Okay, we have to hear the Buddhist teachings, think about them, put them into practice, yeah, generate, practice the 6 paramitas: generosity, ethical conduct, fortitude, joyous effort, concentration, and wisdom. So we have to practice these in this lifetime to be a sharp faculty disciple when we're born there. If we have sharp faculties, we can be born in maybe, if we're really, really fortunate, and very sharp, in the 9th level of lotuses, which opens very quickly and enables us to start receiving teachings from Amitabha very soon. Okay. So, and what we want to receive here is the Mahayana teachings. In other words, the teachings that will lead us to full awakening, that has the full view of emptiness so that we can eliminate both the afflictive obscurations and the cognitive obscurations from our mind stream. Okay, then next verse, once born in Sukhavati, may I gain immediately the powerful Dharani memory, meditative concentration, objectless bodhicitta, inexhaustible confidence, and countless other qualities. By pleasing the highest of teachers, Amitabha, and all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions, may I receive with propriety the Mahayana teachings. Okay, so here we're aspiring again. When we're born in Sukhavati, our lotus opens. Yeah, may we immediately gain the powerful Dharani memory. This is a special kind of memory that will remember all of the teachings we've ever heard. Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it? Yeah. Do we remember most of the teachings we hear? Yeah. Or is our mind kind of like a sieve? The teachings, or as my mother would say, they go in one ear and out the other. Nothing sticks. Okay. So this is a special kind of memory where all the teachings we've ever heard we're able to recall. And this is, to have this memory is fantastic, because then you can really put your attention on contemplating and meditating on the Dharma teachings. But you have to remember them first, and you have to have teachings on them in order to remember them. Okay, so we're aspiring to have that kind of memory, then to have meditative concentration, where we can focus single-pointedly on the meaning of the various teachings. Objectless bodhicitta means the aspiration to attain full awakening by seeing sentient beings as as empty of inherent existence. So whenever you hear objectless, it doesn't mean there's no object whatsoever, because clearly this is talking about how we're seeing sentient beings. It means we're not seeing inherently existent sentient beings. Okay, we're seeing sentient beings as empty of inherent existence and having bodhicitta for them. Okay, then to have inexhaustible confidence. If we're going to practice the bodhisattva path, we have to have a lot of confidence. Yeah, we can't have this view of, me, I can't do anything. Can somebody help me? I try to do stuff, but I'm not successful. Can I pay somebody else to practice the path for me? Can I sleep late? If we have this kind of idea, because we have no confidence in our ability to attain Buddhahood, then we're not going to exert any energy. Yeah, we're just going to lie there and feel sorry for ourselves. So we have to have inexhaustible self-confidence, that is just, yes, I can do it, and I'm going to do it. Okay? And countless other qualities, great love, great compassion, and so forth. And then with those qualities, with that confidence, with bodhicitta and concentration on the basis of ethical conduct, then may we practice in a way such that we please Amitabha and all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Yeah. So it isn't, when we say please Amitabha, I used to have a real problem with hearing that, because it sounds to me like, okay, maybe Amitabha has these standards that I have to measure up to, but I don't really know where they are, so how am I going to please him? Yeah. Don't look at it like that. Yeah, it doesn't mean pleasing in that way, like, you have to please somebody so they'll be nice to you. But with Amitabha and all the other Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, what pleases them, what makes them happy, is when we practice, because they care more for sentient beings than they do for themselves. And they want us to be happy, yeah? But they can't practice the path for us. They can inspire us, they can, and so forth, bless us, but we have to do the work. When we do the work, then they're really happy, because we're fulfilling what they want, which is for us to be free of samsara and attain full awakening. Okay, and so again, here we're saying that we want to receive the Mahayana teachings, which are very, very precious teachings. Okay, next verse. When I have absorbed and understood the true meanings of these teachings, may I be able to travel in an instant and without hindrance to limitless Buddha realms by miraculous power, there to perfect every powerful practice of the Bodhisattvas. When you're born in Sukhavati and you generate the Dharani memory and meditative concentration and all these qualities we just talked about, you can travel to other Pure Lands, and when you are there, to hear the teachings that those Buddhas are giving. Yeah, so it's how to say, you can get all the teachings you want from the best teachers in the universe, and you don't have to pay any money. You don't have to take the MRT or fly halfway around the world on a plane, like I had to go to my teacher's monastery, just because we're in Amitabha's Pure Land, we've developed these abilities, then by miraculous power, we're able to go to these other Pure Lands and hear the teachings. Yeah, so which I think is fantastic. Yeah, one of the reasons I personally want to be born in Amitabha's Pure Land is because they say that Nagarjuna was born there. And Nagarjuna is one of the very fundamental teachers of the Madhyamaka philosophy. And I aspire to learn more and realize that philosophy about the nature of reality. Okay. But in case Nagarjuna is absent that day, he's was transferred to another Pure Land on sabbatical or something, then may I go there. Okay. And also to hear the teachings of all other Buddhas. Okay. And so it's saying, may I receive those teachings? May I absorb them? May I think about them? May I understand them accurately? Yeah. And through that, then without hindrance, may I go to these limitless Buddha realms to hear teachings. Okay, next verse. Though born in pure Sukhavati, I pray to be able to journey to impure realms with unhindered miraculous power, motivated by fierce compassion, there to teach every living being the Dharma according to their disposition, and so bring them to that immaculate path hailed by the Buddha. Okay, so we're born in Sukhavati. The previous verse, we were aspiring to be able to go to many Pure Lands of the Buddhas. Here, we're aspiring to go to the impure lands of sentient beings. Okay, why are they impure? It's not only because of pollution through burning, petrol and so on. These lands are impure because we were born there through the impurity in our mind, under the influence of ignorance, the other afflictions, and karma. Okay, so may we be able to journey to those impure realms. Why do we want to go there? Yeah, if we can go to all these different Pure Lands and listen to the Buddhas, why in the world do we want to go to impure lands? Like our world, where sentient beings are fighting and killing each other, cheating each other, lying, where there's so many problems on our planet and in other realms like ours. Why do we want to be born there? Because we're following the Mahayana path. We have great compassion. And like the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, we're cultivating the mind that cherishes others more than ourselves. Yeah, so this is a really crucial kind of attitude, and to generate the mind that has such great compassion for other living beings, that we cherish them more than ourselves, we have to really work on our self-centered attitude and, really do something about that mind that's always saying, me, I want, give me this, get that away from me, I don't like that. Why doesn't everybody like me? I'm so wonderful. That incredible self-centeredness. We really have to do something about that in order to have that kind of compassion that, like the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas have. Okay, what are we going to do when we're born in the impure realms? We're going to teach all the living beings there the Buddha's teachings. How are we going to teach it? According to their disposition. In other words, everybody has different interests. Everybody has different capabilities. So the Buddha teaches different things to different people according to their interests, their aptitude, their abilities. And so this is a kind of sensitivity so that we know what teaching is really going to help this sentient being. Have you ever wanted to really help a friend and you said something that you thought would help them and it made everything more confusing and worse? You ever had that happen? You mean well, but you said the totally wrong thing. So that's because we don't have this sensitivity that the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas do to really have a sense of, what teaching does somebody need to hear right now, so that they can put that into practice and help their mind. So we want to develop that sensitivity when we're in the Pure Land, in Amitabha's Pure Land, so that then when we travel to other realms, we can really teach sentient beings in a way that will be very powerful and helpful to them. Okay. Next verse. By quickly perfecting these exalted practices for the benefit of countless living beings, may I easily attain the awakened state of a Buddha. Okay? So by hearing these teachings, contemplating them, understanding them correctly, meditating on them, putting them into practice, spreading them to other living beings whose minds are receptive, and doing this with great confidence, with incredible energy, joyous energy, not like we are, it's like at the end of the day, I'm tired, can I just sit on the couch and watch TV? Bodhisattvas don't think like that, okay? So we have to have this incredible enthusiasm and dedication for the path. And how do we get that enthusiasm and dedication? By listening to the teachings and practicing them. Okay? And so through that, may we attain the awakened state of a Buddha. Then the next verse, when the amalgamations of this life are spent, may I plainly behold in my path the vision of Amitabha encircled by a vast entourage, and may my mind be filled with faith and compassion. So the amalgamations here, amalgamations are things that are put together, that are collections of things. So here it's referring to our 5 aggregates. Our body, aggregate of form, our body, feelings, discriminations, miscellaneous factors, and consciousnesses. Okay? So when our 5 aggregates that form the self, the I of this life, die, that's the meaning of them being spent, then again, may I plainly may I plainly see Amitabha, and Amitabha is surrounded by all of the great bodhisattvas. So you can see in the pictures, of Pure Lands, so many bodhisattvas, around the main figure. And may our minds, when we are in, can see all of them, may our mind be filled with faith and compassion. The kind of faith here that is being discussed isn't blind faith. It isn't just, I believe in Amitabha. Why? I don't know, but I believe. No. Yeah, the Buddha was very clear. We have to generate faith based on understanding the teachings and having conviction in the teachings, which means that we have to study and think about the teachings. Yeah. Faith doesn't just come like that in our mind. Okay, so may we be filled with faith in the holy beings and compassion for the sentient beings. And the next version. Once the Bardo visions have appeared, Bardo is the intermediate stage after we leave this lifetime, and the aggregates of this life, we go into the intermediate stage where we have a body kind of, it's not a body that's made of atoms and molecules like this, But when we're in that state, may we be shown the path by the 8 bodhisattvas so that we can be reborn in Sukhavati by manifestation, and through that may we become a spiritual guide for beings in the impure realms, so that we aren't, when we are born in Sukhavati, we don't abandon sentient beings. It's not like, okay, I'm in the land of bliss, this is great, it's so comfortable here, there's all these Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to hang out around, they're really nice, I don't have to go to work, I don't have to pay taxes, I don't have a boss that criticizes me, it's not that, okay, this is a heavenly realm, and so we're just going to hang out there and relax. It's, what do? We'll be born there so that we can develop the qualities of a high-level bodhisattva, of a Buddha, so that we can manifest in the impure realms, come back to worlds like our present confused, suffering world, and be of great benefit. Okay, now here it's interesting, okay? Well, all the verses are interesting, but here Tsongkhapa says, should I not attain such exalted states, in every life may I be born solely in a form capable of engaging in authentic study, contemplation, and meditation upon the transmitted and realized Buddha Dharma. So until this point in the aspirations, we've been aspiring to be reborn in Sukhavati. It kind of looks like we're going in that direction. We've learned all the causes that we have to create in order for that to happen. But here's Tsongkhapa saying, well, if you don't manage to create all the causes to be born in Sukhavati, yeah, so should we not attain such exalted state, then even we're born again in samsara, may we be born in a form and in a body and in a situation with the aggregates, so that we can listen to the Dharma, study the Dharma, yeah, from pure teachers who teach the Dharma correctly, who have realizations of it. May we have all the suitable conditions to contemplate the Buddha's teachings and to meditate upon them. And what are we listening to, contemplating, and wisdom and meditating on? The transmitted and realized Dharma. The transmitted Dharma, that's what's ever taught in the scriptures. It's called transmitted because it is passed down from teacher to disciple, and that person becomes a teacher to their disciples. So it's transmitted from one generation to the next. And then by practicing the transmitted Dharma, then may we realize the meaning of what the Buddha taught, and that's the realized Dharma, the realizations that are in our own mental continuum. Okay, so if we aren't born in Sukhavati, if we don't have all the causes and conditions, at least can we have a rebirth where we have perfect conditions to encounter the Dharma, practice it, and actualize it. Okay? So this is similar to our precious human life that we have right now. So to really recognize the abilities that we have, the great fortune we have with our present life. Okay, may that form always be endowed with the 7 desirable features of higher rebirth. In every such existence, may I gain the memory that recalls perfectly all my past lives. In every life, may I see all samsaric existence as being without essence. May I be motivated by a mind captivated by the virtues of nirvana, and may I be ordained into the monastic discipline so excellently taught by the Buddha. Once ordained, may I live as the monastic Akshobhya, who, unsullied by the slightest fault, perfected ethical conduct and gained great awakening. Okay, so having taken a precious life where we have all the good features and abilities to be able to practice the Dharma and to have a certain role in society so that when we teach the Dharma, people will listen to us. Okay? And in all those existences, because we may have to be born in samsara many times, again, to create the causes and conditions, to try again to be born in Sukhavati, yeah, may we recall our past lives. Now, why would we want to do that? Well, if we could remember our past lives, we would see, when we were born in the hells, when we were born as a hungry ghost, we would see when we were born as an animal, when we were born as a god, when we were, born as a president, when we were born as a slave, all the different rebirths of samsara, we could recognize those. And that would certainly generate an attitude of renunciation of samsara, an aspiration to be free of cyclic existence. Okay, so that's the reason for seeing previous lives. It's not, always hear of all these people, they want to do some kind of, go to a rebirth seminar over the weekend to hear what they were reborn as in a previous life. And then you get all these people who say, I was reborn as Cleopatra. Well, there's one Cleopatra, so it couldn't be so many people reborn as Cleopatra. You don't hear anybody who remembers being born as Cleopatra's slave. Okay, so this kind of thing, of like go to a seminar and figure out your previous life, it's better to really think about how we've been reborn again and again in samsara and create a very strong wish to be free of it. Okay, so that in every life, may I see samsaric existence as being totally meaningless. Yes, you could have a great car, but in the end, so what? Yes, you could live in this great palace with servants giving you everything you want, but you're still going to have to get old and sick and die. So what's all the samsaric pleasure? What value does it have? Because it can't make you eternally happy or give you any kind of real security. It's only when we generate wisdom and have Dharma realizations that we can, manifest in ways that we want to, when we have control over our own experience. Okay? So we want to see samsara as without essence and aspire for nirvana. And in order to do this, what's the best way to practice? To be ordained. Okay? You guys see this? Yeah. Huh? Yeah. You ready to give up your hair? You ready to give up your fancy clothes? You're all going to run out of the room going, no, I want my pleasure. I don't want to give up anything. I want to be the richest person in the world. With that kind of attitude, we're not aspiring for nirvana. We're simply creating the cause to be reborn in samsara again and again and again. Okay? So the reason why monastic life is so helpful is because we take precepts, we hold ethical conduct, yeah? We aren't busy running around, yeah, of, well, I've got to do this business deal, but to do this business deal, I have to go out to this fancy restaurant with my client and buy them, a bottle of whiskey and talk nicely to them so that they'll sign the contract so that I can make a lot of money. You're not spending your life doing that. Yeah, you're not spending your life having children and, changing their diapers and taking care of them when they cry in the middle of the night and so on. When you have a monastic life, you have all the time in the world, really, to practice. So that's why it's said here. And then may we live as a monk like Akshobhya, who keeps precepts perfectly without the slightest fault, and perfected ethical conduct, and may we attain full awakening. Next verse. Furthermore, having fully comprehended the ways of afflictive states of mind and the paths of purification and freedom, in every life may I develop the powerful and accomplished Dharani memory to maintain total recall over every word and meaning of every branch and division of the teachings. So we talked about that before. So you can remember all the teachings that you've had since beginningless time. In the same way that I retain these dharmas, these teachings, may I gain a pure and unhindered confidence to teach them likewise to others. Okay? So, it's not that you, listen to the teachings and then you can become the tea shop guru, the coffee shop guru. It's not so easy to teach what the Buddha taught. You have to really think about it. You have to practice it. Okay? So, and then you have to have the confidence to be able to teach. And when you don't know anything, you have to have the confidence to say, I don't know, and then go back and learn. Next verse. Furthermore, in every life, may I master and never be apart from the ways of meditative concentrations, such as the heroic Surangama Samadhi. May I acquire supernormal sight, such as that unhindered by matter, as well as the super knowledges, such as knowing the ways of miraculous power. So the Surangami Samadhi is a samadhi through which we can dispel all sorts of hindrances to our gaining realizations. So we want to attain that, and then we also want to have the various supernormal powers. So one of them is to be able, it's called quick feet. In other words, to go from one place to the other. You're not actually walking, but you can go there quickly. It involves what they call the divine ear, where you can hear sounds, different sounds throughout the universe. The divine eye, whereby you can see, what sentient beings are doing. And so these kind of divine ear and divine eye give us the ability, to not only see what the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are doing and attending their teachings, but also if we want to help sentient beings to have these kind of supernormal powers, so that we know their karma, we know their level, we know how open they are, and so in that way that we have that sensitivity to be able to teach them according to their disposition. Okay, the next verse. Furthermore, in every life, may I develop, now here we're going to go into a whole thing about different kinds of wisdom, So may I develop that great wisdom that self-reliantly and unaided is able to differentiate what to practice and what to abandon. So we want to know, to have the wisdom that can see what attitudes and actions are virtuous, what attitudes and actions are non-virtuous, so that we know what to practice, so that we can gain the realizations, and what to abandon, so that we don't continue to go round and around in samsara. That's called the great wisdom. May I develop the clear wisdom that unerringly separates even the subtlest degree of afflictive mental states from paths of purification and freedom. So this is a wisdom in which we can look in our own mind and see what are afflictive mental states that we want to abandon, and what are pure mental states that we want to generate and practice. So we have to be able to find these things in our own mind, identify them, so that we can abandon the afflictive ones, practice the pure ones. That's called clear wisdom. May I develop the quick wisdom that holds the power to counter all doubts, fallacious views, and incomprehension as soon as they appear. So this is the wisdom that when our mind is clouded by ignorance, can very quickly cut through the ignorance, cut through the doubt, cut through the hesitation, instead of just kind of, sitting in the middle of our garbage mind. Okay? May I develop the profound wisdom that penetrates without obstacles, the meaning of the scriptures unfathomable to others. So with profound wisdom, may we understand the deep meaning of the teachings that the Buddha taught. So that means we have to analyze them, think about them, and so on. In short, with wisdom stripped of all afflictive intelligence, may I rise to the wisdom skillful in unlocking the meanings of the scriptures in order to attain the perfection of every bodhisattva practice, just as the noble Manjushri has done. So may we clear away all the afflictive ignorance and unlock the meaning of all the scriptures and be like Manjushri, who's the Buddha of wisdom. Next verse. Having gained without difficulty great, clear, quick, and profound wisdom, may I, in order to gather the fortunate, to crush false orators, and to please the wise, may I perfect the arts of teaching, debating, and composition that focus upon the complete teachings of the Buddha. So having gained those 5 wisdoms mentioned in the 4 wisdoms in the previous verse, may we also generate the ability to see through the teachings that are given by people who don't have the correct view and who are teaching incorrectly. And in that way, may we please the wise who understand the teachings correctly, and may we gain the ability to explain the teachings perfectly, debate with them so that we can help others overcome their wrong views, and then compose to write the teachings and preserve them for future generations. Next verse. Furthermore, in every life, having put an end to all self-preoccupied ways of thinking and to laziness and weakness regarding the powerful practices of the Bodhisattva, may I possess bodhicitta wise in the accomplishment of supreme courage and the willingness to dedicate myself to others. As the noble Avalokiteshvara has done, may I perfect every bodhisattva practice. So now we're going to have a series of verses talking about different bodhisattvas and different Buddhas and what their specialties are, so that we can generate the aspirations to develop those same qualities that they have. So here, just like Avalokiteshvara, Kuan Yin put an end to all self-centered ways of thinking, to all laziness, to all procrastination, regarding the bodhisattva's practice. May we possess bodhicitta, and may we have strong courage, not worrying about, oh, am I going to get hurt? Are people going to like me? But really being courageous in sharing the Dharma and leading others. And may we have the willingness to really dedicate ourselves to being of great benefit to other living beings. So you can see here, to be a bodhisattva, we have to do some work, don't you think? Yeah, especially this self-centered mind. We have to get rid of it slowly by seeing its faults and seeing the benefits of cherishing others. But it's going to take a while, but we have to practice and consistently. Next verse. Furthermore, in every life, whenever I apply myself to the welfare of self and others, may I possess a skillful ability to demolish all negative forces, defeat those holding extreme views, and thwart all opponents. As the noble Vajrapani has done, may I perfect all the bodhisattva practices. So, when we apply ourselves to accomplishing the purpose or the welfare of self and others, okay? So on the path, we have to accomplish our own purpose, which is to gain all the realizations of the path, and we have to accomplish the purpose of others, that is, to gain the ability to manifest in different forms so that we can teach others and guide them. So the Dharmakaya, the Buddha's truth body, is the fulfillment of our own purpose, and the enjoyment body and emanation bodies are the fulfillment of others' purpose, because with them we can manifest to lead beings. So may we have the skillful ability to demolish negative forces. So if there's any negative forces, those people who are teaching extreme views, such as nihilism or, that saying that things exist inherently, may we be able to, stop those people and teach them the right view so that they can share that with others. So like Vajrapani, may we have that ability to overcome hindrances. Whoops, okay. Then next, to perfect the bodhisattva practice that dispels all laziness, may I in every life first generate bodhicitta, and by the powerful endeavor undistracted for even an instant, may I reach great awakening as the unparalleled Shakyamuni has done. So, by dispelling all of our laziness, I don't feel like it, I want to sleep late, I want people to serve me breakfast in bed, to get over our laziness and procrastination. May we generate bodhicitta, and then with powerful enthusiasm, without being distracted, may we attain full awakening, just like Shakyamuni Buddha has done. Then next, to eradicate obstacles to practices of awakening, such as sickness of body or mind, may I in every life, as the king of physicians, the medicine Buddha does, pacify, as the king of physicians and the medicine Buddha do, it should be do, may I pacify all pain of body, speech, and mind merely by mentioning his name. So may I attain the realizations and abilities of the medicine Buddha to overcome all illnesses, mental illnesses, physical illnesses. Next, furthermore, in all lifetimes, may I have the power to live out my lifespan as I wish, and merely by mentioning his name, may I destroy all untimely death, as the conqueror Amitabha does. So in all of these lifetimes that we need to practice in order to attain awakening, may we have long and healthy lives, so that we have the mental and physical abilities to learn, think, and meditate upon the Dharma teachings, just as Amitabha has done. Okay. Then, whenever life-threatening obstacles arise, may I behold with clarity in whatever manifestation is appropriate, Amitabha, who curbs the threat by way of the 4 awakening activities. With such a vision, may every hindrance to life be at once removed. Okay, so if we have life-threatening obstacles, we get very seriously ill, we have an accident, these kinds of things. So may we behold in whatever form is appropriate for our mind, Amitabha, and then by Amitabha, curbing all these hindrances by the way of the 4 activities, may we have a long life and use that to practice the Dharma. So the 4 activities, the first one is pacifying, so we pacify hindrance. Second one is increasing, where we increase merit. The third one is influencing, so we can influence sentient beings to follow the Dharma. And the fourth one is forceful, where we can dispel any kind of hindrance. Okay, next, recognizing such an appropriate manifestation to be none other than Amitabha, may I develop unshakable, uncontrived faith, by whose power I will forever be in the presence of Amitabha as my spiritual teacher. Okay, so by Amitabha, may Amitabha manifesting as Amitabha be the appropriate way for him to appear to us. Then I, through the force of our practice and understanding of the Dharma, have great faith, uncontrived faith in his ability to lead us to awakening. And may we always have Amitabha or Amitabha as our spiritual teacher. Okay, wouldn't that be nice? Yeah. Next, furthermore, in life after life, by pleasing him in return, may I be forever fostered by accomplished Mahayana spiritual masters, the source of every virtue of this world and beyond. In their care may I acquire a firm, unshakable faith in them, pleasing them by every means possible, doing nothing, even for an instant, to disappoint them. So this is what we talked about before. If we practice well, then we're creating the cause for our own and others' liberation from samsara, our own and others' full awakening, and that is what pleases all of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And we do nothing to disappoint them, like creating, doing obnoxious, non-virtuous actions, or destroying the Dharma through our inappropriate teaching things incorrectly or acting incorrectly. Okay, next. May my spiritual masters impart to me every instruction and teaching in its entirety. Having understood them faultlessly, may I practice them and be able to bring them to perfection. May I never, even for a moment, fall under the sway of malevolent teachers and misleading friends. So this is kind of a dedication verse, So may I be a receptive vehicle, a receptive container, receptive vessel, so that my spiritual teachers can teach me all the Dharma teachings, and may I master all the sutras and tantras in their entirety. Having understood them perfectly, may I practice them correctly and bring them to perfection. And then to do that, may I never, ever follow a teacher who gives wrong teachings or has the wrong harmful motivation. And may I never be swayed by misleading friends who would much prefer to distract me to go out and have a good time rather than encourage me to create virtue or to go to the Dharma Center for teachings or to go on retreat. Okay, and then the last dedication verse. In every life, having developed belief in cause and effect, renunciation, bodhicitta, and the correct view, may I embark upon them continually with effortless experience. In all lives, may every virtuous action accumulated by my body, speech, and mind be causes solely for the fulfillment of others' virtue, others' welfare, and for the purest and highest awakening. Okay, so may we have a correct understanding of the law and karma, correctly understand renunciation, bodhicitta, and the correct view. Those are the three principal aspects of the path. And with that, may we, go and meditate and have experience of the teachings, so that in every lifetime from now until awakening, may all the virtuous actions we do through physically, verbally, and mentally, may they be causes for the fulfillment of others' welfare. In other words, may we attain not only the Dharmakaya, but also the enjoyment body and the emanation body, and in that way work for the benefit of all living beings and sustain the Buddha's Dharma in a pure fashion so that it's available for all future generations. Okay, so that's Tsongkhapa's prayer. I went through it very quickly, but hopefully you have some understanding. If it was too quick, the teaching will be posted on the internet. Listen to it again. Take notes on it. Read this prayer, every day or every other day. Familiarize yourself with it, because as you read it, you will think about the meaning of it. And as you think about the meaning, you will understand this prayer to be reborn in Sukhavati, the Land of Bliss. You will understand it much better. Okay, so we always have the tradition of starting over again, So I'll just read the first two verses again. With deeds exalted, you grant splendor unending. Once remembered, you hurl far all fear of the Lord of Death. With constant love, you look on others as sons and daughters. Amitabha's teacher of gods and humans, I bow before you. That's a good stopping place.
Very well, thank you for the talk. Can you explain the term fierce compassion? Yeah.
Fierce compassion means you aren't going to put up with others' excuses, with their rationalizations, with their blaming others, with their procrastination. You're going to deal with others in a very direct way and get them going. You're not going to monkey around and say, oh, poor you, you're so tired. You're going to say, no, you're awake, do some practice.
Can you show an example of wisdom,
The example of wisdom? Okay. The example of wisdom, well, there's many kinds of wisdom as we went through in the prayer, but, and there's different kinds of wisdom, yeah? But there's the wisdom that we generate by hearing the teachings, the wisdom we generate by thinking about the teachings and discussing them, and the wisdom that we generate through meditating and putting the teachings into practice. Okay? And so if we do that, then, we can grow in the Dharma and the realizations come. Okay, one more question.
Thank you. How do we reconcile this teaching with the teaching on emptiness, total emptiness?
Oh, yeah. Well, how do we include emptiness in this? Because emptiness does not mean nothing exists. Yeah. If you think that as Buddhists we're trying to realize that nothing exists, that's incorrect. Okay? What we're trying to realize is that things lack inherent existence. They lack a type of existence that has never existed, that we think exists. So we're realizing the emptiness or lack of inherent existence. But dependent existence, dependent arising, still exists. So emptiness does not mean nothingness. Yeah, we have to be very clear about that, because if you think that it's just getting rid of all thoughts and thinking that nothing exists, then you're going to create a lot of negative karma, because that kind of view, you say, well, then there's no good, there's no bad, there's no virtue, there's no non-virtue. I can do whatever I want because nothing exists. And if you have that attitude and act that way, you get a very quick ticket to the lower realms. Okay?
Okay, thank you once again, Venerable Chodron, for your wonderful teachings this evening. Venerable will now lead us in the dedications of merit. Let's join her in transferring the merits tonight for tonight's sessions to all sentient beings.